G'day everyone, welcome back for episode 2. Now, when we first filmed our first episode, we didn't have a name for the pod, but we have a name now, and it's called the Lucky Dogs Podcast. So I'm with a good mate of mine, Will Brown, and we've also got a special guest.
Yeah, we've got Zach Bates on today off a pretty solid weekend. So thanks for joining us, Zach.
No, absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for having me on. Listen to the first one, and you guys did a great job.
No, thanks for that. Yeah, it was. We finally came up with a name, and it took us a few days. To be honest, I struggled with that. It hurt my brain for a few days thinking, looking up all the ChatGPT names of how we're gonna name this podcast. And actually, I think it was you, Ainsley, that said Lucky Dogs, wasn't it?
Yeah, the real story was that was the name I gave you guys before we recorded the first one and put it out to the public, and we ended up back at it anyway.
Well, I thought the public had come up with some really good ones, which they did, and some witty ones, but I thought that we wanted something that was short enough that we can put on hats one day and some shirts and a little bit catchy. So
we are doing merch.
I think we're going to bring some out one day. We'll wait and see.
Maybe we'll see what everyone thinks in the comments. Comment down below if you want some merch, and maybe we'll consider it.
Yeah, so we want it to be a little bit short, I reckon. And Lucky Dogs, I think we also thought we've probably both been a bit lucky. Both won a championship, lucky getting into Supercars and that. So we went with that one. So yeah, was there any good comments on names though?
I think honourable mentions was Below the Bonnet, thanks to David Reynolds, one he's already used. So I feel like that was maybe permission to take that.
It used to be pretty big.
Yeah, it did. Too Wide was another one we were considering.
Yep.
We liked Shake and Break.
Yeah, Shake and Break was good. I like that.
There's definitely a lot of good honourable mentions in there. There's
Yeah.
a couple of funny ones that probably aren't too PG, I did say.
Yeah, we had Code Brown and the brown end of the bush. And we
Right to the
That's
bush.
good, yeah.
and we also really liked Shit Talk with Will and Brodie, but spelt.
Talk, for like horsepower
Yeah.
and torque.
Yeah. So that was
yeah.
good. But I think everyone be honest about what you wanted to call it and why we didn't call it.
What's that?
You were trying to steal my
Yeah,
business
we were
name.
trying to steal double stack. Ainsley called her business that, but you were too worried we'd get too big, and it looked like you just work for us.
It could have been a
That's what you
good investment for you, maybe.
Yeah, I should have sold it actually.
Oh, yeah. And to be honest, so hard to name a podcast these days because there's so many podcasts out there that you end up with the same name as someone else. So that was difficult, but I think we will get into the podcast now. And yeah, I'm trying to think. What was a big weekend. We're pretty much doing a recap of our first recap of Ipswich. And yeah, I don't know. It was, I guess going into the weekend, it was pretty cool. The fans that came out to go back to QR, that was probably my biggest thing, rolling in. And it took us about, I was staying in Ipswich, it was a 15-minute drive, and it took us about an hour to get in on Saturday, and that was at 8 a.m. There were so many cars rolling in.
Yeah, I think it was, I actually got shown a photo back from the early 2000s of the turn 1 and 2 hill. So, the hill was packed on Saturday and Sunday, and it looked, pretty much exactly the same. And that was obviously the goal was, they wanted to pack the hill. And I guess a big credit of that goes to TQ, Tony Quinn, obviously upgrading all the infrastructure within the circuit, and it seems like everyone had a great time. The pits it was almost like Bathurst in the pits. It was just absolutely crazy. The lines for the signing sessions were unbelievable. Even when we went to the Superfest on the Thursday night, the signing session in Ipswich there in the city was just absolutely incredible. So probably the first time you've experienced that, hey Batesy?
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I was with this on the signing session table with Will and Brock, and I was just hanging on there, to be honest, a bit of a hanging on. But no, it was fantastic. Yeah, every single signing session that I went to, the fans were amazing. Like, it was just so good to see so many out, how passionate they are here in Ipswich. They said it was going to be a big event, but I think it's well exceeded expectations.
It is Ipswich, like it's known to be the most bogan place, so it should have been our biggest round of the year. You know what I mean? Like,
That's right,
there's a lot of I think it's the heartland of our supercar fans, isn't it? So it was pretty cool. Like, I felt like it was a bit like Bathurst. Like, at Bathurst you can't get between your pits and your trailer because there's so many people that generally catch you and want signatures and all of that. And that was Ipswich. Like, it was hard to get from the trailer into the garage. It was just people everywhere. It was flat out. So I was. I
think
really
they probably all wanted Brock's signature, mate. He's won all the races, not you.
Yeah, that's right. I was able to just walk straight in the garage, but Brock kept getting caught. So that was interesting. But no, overall, I reckon it was a pretty cool weekend. To be honest, I enjoyed driving the track, but I didn't enjoy racing it as much as probably I thought I would. Like, as in, I felt like there wasn't as much passing as what I thought maybe other tracks produced, but I think the fan hype and so many people there, and that made it a great event, and probably it should be on the calendar full time now.
Yeah, actually, I passed a few cars at a few of the races. I think race 1, I was out of 5th, I believe, and I fell back off the start, ran off like a silly bugger off of 2, and I went back to like 8th or 9th and got back up into 5th, and then got back to behind you and was running behind you for a bit, and I thought, I just can't wait to get to your rear bumper. And I was thinking about all the things I could do just to have a fight today on the podcast, but I couldn't quite get there. It was close.
It's brewing.
That would have been pretty good. We were actually racing real close to each other all weekend. A few times in the helmet, I thought as well, this is going to come up. We're running into each other and barging. But one thing that stood out to me on the weekend, which was wild, and you were in that top 10 when the rain came down. You were in that one, weren't you?
In the shootout?
Was it the top?
On the second qualifying on the Sunday.
Yeah.
No, I was watching.
Oh, far out.
I
We rolled out.
14th.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we started next to each other both times. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's right. I did too.
Yeah.
You guys wouldn't understand then. But
Well, clearly you didn't, because you did the shootout or the top 10 part, and then in the race you were running the wrong lines again.
Yeah, I know. I was hopeless in the rain for some reason. But yeah, that was crazy. Rolled out for the top 10, and I was taking it slow because I didn't want to give anyone a tow. Where if I knew the rain was coming, I would have gone flat out and got round as soon as possible. But I was taking it slow, and then the team at turn 3 were like, there's a bit of rain coming, you need to get going. And then literally we started coming down the straight at turn 1, and it just bucketed down. I think, how many guys fired it off at turn 1?
Everyone except for Brock, because he was on pole.
Yeah, well, that's true. I actually didn't fire it off. I was just slow.
I was sitting in the front of the A trailer because obviously I'm not in the session, and probably just before you guys got the green to roll out, George was like, it should be pissing down right now. And literally like 15 seconds later, it was like just the monsoon arrived.
Oh.
It was pretty crazy. And the track was very slippery. I guess with all the roll racing and stuff they have got going on there.
And I took the wrong lines because I thought at turn 5 and that maybe you run a go-kart line around the outside, but because of the drifting or something going on there, straight when I went offline from the normal line, I looped it on the lap. I just spun straight out, and then I think turn 2 you could run a bit of a different line, a bit of an old go-kart line where you run around the outside a bit more and find more grip, but I couldn't find that to work at Ipswich.
Yeah, I think I know what that is, but I'll keep that to myself.
Oh, come on.
Keep it up his sleeve.
Yeah, no, that was good. What did you have any? You had a few controversial moments in that last race though. You were just, what did you call yourself? The big red target.
Yeah, I was a big red moving target. Yeah, some people thought I was like a mobile chicane by the looks of it. Yeah, it was pretty wild. Like off the start, you got a good start and move forward, and the rain came, and I was just hanging on for dear life, to be honest. Like it's quite good, seeing what you guys were doing, and I was just trying my best to like copy it. And then came for the pit stop, and it wasn't quite as good. Got shuffled back, and then the big talking point of the race was probably the main straight with Cam Hill. So I kind of got up next to him at the last corner and onto the main straight, and then he bumped me the first time, and I was kind of like, oh, I guess I'm new on the block, like it's gonna happen. And then he went left and then came back right and just really hit me.
Yeah.
So
and you're actually mates with him, but nobody's mates on the track. But
no, like we play a game called paddle together a fair bit, so I might have to aim.
So
for
no
him.
more paddle, or are you gonna go and play?
Use his head as the
Yeah,
hole
exactly.
next time.
Yeah. See, I'm torn on that incident because I think something more should be done about it than just a drive through. Like my attitude between that is like what Woody did on me.
Yeah.
We'll probably come to that later. But somebody accidentally takes someone out. I find that's like just an accidental head high in rugby. But if somebody does what Cam did on you, I look at that as like a spear tackle in rugby. Like you get some sort of, like he literally ran you from the full left side, hit you 3 times, and then didn't even stop when he knew there wasn't a car with left. He actually put you off the road. So I think that was fully intentional, and they should actually do something more about it. That's probably going to
Stop and hold for a lap, or
well, I think like sit out first practice at Tail and Bend or something.
oh, that's,
Like,
that's probably a good point.
Something like that. That's not too bad that it's ruins everything, or you miss around or that. But it's bad enough that people will go, hey, because everyone's going, oh, I got hot under the collar. Like it's going to teach them that when they get hot under the collar, there's a bigger consequence than just a drive through or a stop and go.
Well, that's what his team owner said. Hot heads don't prevail.
Well, I
think is
believe
on the Cool Down podcast.
I believe he said that to Zach. He just said,
Yeah.
"Oh, I was hot under the collar because." Pretty much, like Zach passed him. He didn't even really rub him up from what, maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit, but it's nothing more out of the ordinary. But like you can understand, you get frustrated out there. That's like, it's super serious and
but-
everything. But to get to that point, like we've all been frustrated in a race car. But yeah, I suppose just
There's a level of frustration, and then doing that though. I think you've got to be able to hold your emotions in enough to not do that. So yeah, it was interesting, but I don't know if anything further will come from it, or they just gave him his penalty and they're happy with it. I'm not really sure.
Do you reckon he just felt threatened?
I don't know.
Because I reckon a few. Remember, I said to you on the grid, I was like, just settle in the race here, and actually, you were there as well, and we were actually talking to Zach before the start of the race, and basically, I said to Zach, I was like, you're gonna be a massive target here, mate. I'm like, just get off the line, get yourself into a bit of a gap, and the race will come to you. And I remember you saying your car's fast. Obviously, it's fast. It won by 10 seconds or something coming out of fourth. But obviously everyone's going to be pissed off that you've come straight in and doing such a great job straight away. So maybe there's a bit of that going on as well, where you're racing some of those guys that are, I guess, 50-50 in or out of a seat, and then you come straight in, straight into the shootout. I think you qualified fourth in qualifying.
Fifth.
Yeah, fifth. And then obviously racing, really well at the front. And I remember when it started raining, you were right on my ass.
Yeah,
pretty
I was
much.
like, here we go. If I get him at all, I'm gonna know about it. Because he comes up to me, he's on the first race, starting next to me. It's the 13th, 14th, and I'm like, he's like, good luck, and he's like, I swear you said something, you'll need it, and I'm like, oh, here we go.
I knew he'd do. I knew Brodie would do something like that to you. I was like, Zach will be trying to wave and be like, don't take me out, and Brodie will be like, no, I'm getting rid of you if I have to.
correct.
So,
Yeah, I didn't make it too far down the road, did I?
Yeah,
I made it down all the way to turn one, and I was in the pits a lap later for 5 laps. So
I actually said to
like,
Zach,
where
I was
do you
like,
go?
if Brodie shows the nose, just kind of let him go and slot him behind him, because I'm like, he's going to move you or do something.
Correct.
And
Well,
I was
that was
like,
kind of my thinking. I'm like, he's really good in traffic, so if he gets past, then hopefully I can just follow him through. But unfortunately, he didn't get.
you just needed the field to spread out where it becomes that everyone's running within 5 car lengths, but not close enough to actually
Correct.
pass you without making it fully intentional or taking you out.
Yeah.
So I think you nearly got there. And then the hardest thing for running a wild card and going so well, like, to be honest, the other wild cards probably haven't been running near as far up as you did this year, is that obviously the pit stops were a drama on the weekend. You don't have guys that are running pit stops every weekend, so you're going to lose a bit of time in the pits and certain things there. But I think obviously the qualifying performances, probably the hardest thing is that generally people can go half okay in a race, but qualifying up the front's the biggest thing in our sport. So I think you probably showed a lot of people on the weekend that you're capable of qualifying up the front in not a bad car. So hopefully a few of the teams look at what you did and thinking maybe consider you for a drive then.
Yeah, see how it goes. Just gotta keep doing a good job. But yeah,
Who are you
Ralph,
gonna call?
fantastic. Who am I gonna call?
Yeah.
Anyone that's willing to talk.
That's a good answer.
That's a diplomatic answer.
Well, Will, you put the call out on social that it's any drive but yours.
Yeah, that's right. Well, he did out qualify me, so I was worried in that one. I was like, somebody put him in a drive, but just not my drive. I don't want to lose mine.
they actually talked to my pit stop crew. Will did, and said, just make sure you do something about it.
Yeah, don't do a good pit stop.
And for those at home that they probably don't know, that you two are quite supportive of Batesy, and obviously he's driving with Rach and Ben, but you will have like a connection to Zach's family from a while back.
Yeah, that's right. That's probably how I ended up working with Zach a little bit. Is I drove in the 86 series that's run, Neil Bates, Zach's uncle, runs all the, builds the cars and runs them and does all the parts for Toyota for them. And Neil actually built my car and owned it the year I ran there. So I did a lot with the family then, met Zach through that. And then Zach started getting into cars and started helping him out a bit there and working together sort of as Zach was in Toyota 86s. And then you did the year with Walkinshaw's.
Yeah.
And then I sort of last year we got together and tried working out this deal to put you in at 888 for the Wildcard and with Eggleston's, who, myself and Brodie have obviously both come through their Super 2 program. That looks to be a bit tough this year. Obviously, your Super 2, you can qualify, 4th in main game, but you're just struggling in the Super 2 car? Or
Yeah,
just...
yeah, it's a super competitive year. Everyone's doing a great job. I think teams like Tickford, I was with Walkinshaw last year. They were extremely strong, and I think they just stepped up. Not that, the Eggleston car is fantastic, and I've had, some good results this year at Tassie. Yeah, we did the top 5 shootout, got pole in that and whatnot, but it's probably been a bit in me, to be honest. Just this weekend, or the weekend just gone, was hard doing both, trying to be committed to both. But yeah, it's so close out there. Like, I think on Saturday in the qualifying session, I qualified 7th and I was 600ths off pole.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
So
didn't realise it was actually that tight.
That's
yeah,
pretty tight.
yeah. So top 8 cars were a 10th.
Far out.
Yeah, which is pretty
Yeah.
crazy. So yeah, it's just super competitive. There's a lot of guys doing a good job.
They're all within a 10th, and then Brock's just 5 tenths
Yeah,
over
correct.
all of us.
You said it.
What do you reckon he's doing?
You're the one that
I've got
drives
his
with him.
data, and I can't even...
You're the one that drives with him.
Yeah, I know. God. Just going to go home and cry for a week after the weekend. When I did my shootout lap on the weekend, the one where I was second to Woody, and we were like 3 tenths up on the field, and I was like, yeah, that wasn't a bad lap. Like, I might actually, who knows, Brock might make a little mistake. I might. And
Doesn't
then
matter.
he goes out there,
Crazy.
and by turn 3, he's like 3 tenths up on me, and I was like, I might as well just go back in the trailer now.
Yeah.
So that was pretty. Should we go through the Woody incident now?
Well,
Can we
I
get
think
to that?
yeah, we can get to that. You want to watch the replay?
Yeah, let's watch it. Let's show Brodie, because I reckon Brodie and Zach can be a good judge of.
I haven't actually watched it yet, so this is going to
so
be.
I reckon we let Brodie watch the replay and see what he thinks, because Woody was unhappy that I rubbed him up here. He reckons.
Oh, that is just absolutely unacceptable.
Do you reckon that's bad?
Look at the downforce on your thing compared to his.
No, seriously. Do you reckon that was bad?
That's a bit naughty.
You reckon?
Yeah. That's the part that I get confused about is,
So I reckon that's legal.
Yeah, how do you view that in the rule book?
well, I don't know, because... God, Woody was pretty angry there, wasn't he?
He was angry. See, I reckon I played the current rule book well in my pass.
Yeah, but it's so hard though, because no one really knows, like, what do you think about the front to rear now? Because it's like so...
I don't think front to rear is allowed. I don't think front to rear is allowed. I might have just touched him front to rear there, but then
Because I had something pretty similar at Darwin with Matt Payne, where it was like he overrun and then tried to come back, and we sort of like touched like right front corner to left rear corner. It was like maybe 50-50, but it's sort of, I don't know. It's so hard because like I want to be doing stuff like that. I reckon that's good. That's better for racing. The cars are so close now. We need to generate different ways to to pass.
People were obviously unhappy. They reckon that I rubbed him up the corner before, but there's no way to pass around Ipswich without what I did there. And that wasn't like I didn't even really unsettle him. Yeah, if you're Brock, you just pass anyway. But there's no really I don't think I really unsettled him, to be honest, that much, and it wasn't that bad. And then I was trying to pass Heimgardner, and I'm like, I need to make this happen. And I was struggling. I was getting like understeer and that. I'm like, oh no, Woody's getting closer and closer. And I knew he'd hit me somewhere. But to be honest, I thought he'd probably done enough and smart enough that he'll hit me somewhere to move me out of the road, or just to say, hey, I'm unhappy. But I didn't think he'd turn me. And I don't think he thought he'd turn me as well. But he obviously just rolled it in there fast to get to my rear bar, and it's just tapped me. And I just knew straight when I saw him in my rear view, just hit me. I was like, oh no. And I was in that bad point where I'm already, you're already a little bit edgy there, and he's just hit me and it's just turned me straight round, and I was out. So that was
Did a burnout a bit early, not for the right reasons.
And I remember sitting there, and I was trying to do a burnout to keep going round and then shoot off the track so I could get away from everyone. But it started to
spun you back on the racing line.
It started to spin me back on the racing line, so I had to stop. And then I was just watching everyone come around the corner. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get hit. And I think it was like Davo came out wide, and I'm like, oh, this is it. And then no one hit me, luckily. So I got going, but I burnt the rear tyres off.
Yeah, I saw the
that.
smoke show because by then my race was done. I saw the smoke show. I'm like, oh, yes, one position. And I get closer and I see like the Red Bull in like in the smoke. And I'm like, and then he's like driving up behind me. I'm like, oh, well, at least we're together in this.
Yeah, I was nowhere after that. I just had, I don't know, I struggled to even get back through the field, and then on the warm down lap we ended up getting into it, so that was good.
So I did hear you guys had a bit of a biff on the cool down. Was there a bit of dooring, a few fingers?
Yeah, so I I was like, I had to pass like 10 people to get to him on the warm down lap, and I'm like, weaving through everyone, like, I'm gonna find this fucker.
Yeah, I
And,
thought you didn't see the checkered. And he just kept going.
It's funny because you said he had rookie red mist, but I feel like you had that on the cool down.
No,
lap there.
well, I actually was
Trying to
quite
get
smart
to
about
him.
it. I was like, I'm just gonna get to him, and then I'm not going to run into him, but when I get down to turn 3, I'm just not going to turn, and he has to turn in at some point. So I just kept driving straight, and he was on my outside, and then in the end, he just turned hard right into my door. And then I was like, oh, well, that's fair enough. Like, you had to turn in at some point. I was trying to sort of put him in the gravel. And then he came back on and came round, and then at exit of turn 3, he just, like, drove into the side of me, and then I gave him the finger there, and then...
So you gave him the number 1.
Yeah, here we go. Here's a replay.
Oh, yeah, we got a replay here. Oh, yeah. That was after, though.
You're very emotional, Will.
Yeah,
So
I know.
a bit unlike you. Normally you're pretty like Craig Lounsey and just smiling and...
I had the shits about that, though, because I was like, I didn't feel like what I did to him was bad enough to turn... I don't know. I didn't feel like it was bad enough to ruin someone's race over it, so... I had the shits about it. I still have the shits about it, to be honest.
So on the drive here, he's just...
I think he tried coming and apologize. I don't even know if he's trying to apologise yesterday, though. I'm not sure. He came over to talk to me, kind of said, I thought your pass was worse than it was. He's like, I watched a replay, it wasn't that bad. And he's like, I didn't mean to turn you around, but he said, you were into my rear bar and rubbed me up, and he goes, you should have known what I was like, and pretty much saying, I'm going to turn you around if you do that. So I think he pretty much admitted it was deliberate.
would you bump him again?
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely like I've bookmarked it. He's ninth. He's ninth. I'm third. I've got a ticket to the finals. Like I can tell you right now, it's there's I'm gonna remember that one. So
Fair enough. There you go. Big
well,
calls.
I just think at the end of the day is
that'll be a headline.
Yeah, I know, but I just think at the end of the day, if you let it slide, he's gonna think he won.
I actually had pretty good battles all weekend.
Yeah, is that us? Any moments? Or?
No, not really. I had Cam actually in the race 1 on Saturday ran me off at turn 3 on the exit onto the, because you know how you go out onto a bit of the shortcut loop there, and he just full throttle, just on a 45-degree angle, ran me out to the grass, and I just
did Waters.
Yeah. So I kept it full throttle, and I somehow went through the grass like Dukes of Hazzard and come out next to him, and he must have been shitting himself. So I waited. We went side by side through turn 4 because it was wet. And I was like, I'm going to wait till turn 5 exit and put him on the exit curb and really, really fuck his race. So I put him on the exit curb at 5 and he went back to dead last.
Yeah, fuck. It's always good when you get someone back like that.
And I spoke to him afterwards and I was like, he goes, oh, mate, you fucking ran me off. And I said, well, yeah, you ran me off at turn 3. He goes, yeah, to be honest, I didn't expect you to still be there. And I went, yeah, well. Well, I said, that's how it goes, doesn't it? But Woody did the same thing in the last race. And I kept my foot in it again. Because he doored me off, and we were side by side into turn 4, and I actually lost traction on my steering wheel, so I didn't quite make the turn-in point, and he lost like 4 spots or 3 spots from that. So
yeah, see, I reckon there's people that I know are going to race hard but not turn you. Like generally, people are smart enough, and Woody, I think he deliberately meant to hit me. I don't think he deliberately meant to turn me around. Like I think he thought it'd shuffle me wide, and then he'd get past.
He probably just thought you had more talent.
Yeah, I could just hold on to it. I couldn't hold on to it for some reason. But it's like when me and you got into it. We got into it turn 3, and then at turn 4, I knew you were going to hit me. And I thought, if you get back underneath me, that's fair enough, because me and you have got into it a bit the corner before. So if you hit me, move me a bit wide, and then get back past me, I'm like, okay, that's probably
You're just
fair.
lucky those Fords are down on straight line. Let me tell you.
I saw out of turn 3 when I was running you wide. I was like, oh, I hope I clear you, because I'm just feeling a left hook coming here from you.
I broke, and I was like, I'm just going to clear the brake and just start braking when I hit him. I already lost 3 car lengths down the straight anyway, so.
Oh, God.
Doesn't sound like it's too long until it actually is happening, you two coming together.
We always
See, there's just no friends on track, is there? You run a podcast together, and he's just trying to take you out there the whole time. But
Well, what if we flash back to Saturday, Will? Like, we've spoken a lot about Sunday, but on Saturday you had a win in your 150th race, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, but your teammate had to get a 5-second penalty to do it.
Yeah, just give me my moment for a second, eh? Like, far out. Yeah, that is true. It was sort of like a sympathy win or something like that. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, we better give Will a win. Let's just find a penalty to give Brock. But No, it was cool. Obviously, 150 races is good. That was cool to get rack up that milestone, and then to win that race. I was pretty happy with that race, to be honest. I'm not sure what it is. I think I go better right now. Like I got a better handle on the super soft tire, and I started second, got into second, but I was able to really no one was able to run with Brock all weekend, but I was able to hold him for the 20 something lap stint. He had 1.7 seconds over me pitting. So I was pretty happy with that stint and to stay with him. And then, we were able to jump him in the pits. We lost a bit of time in the pits. Not sure exactly. I stopped short and we lost a bit of time there. And then he came out only like a second behind me. So it was pretty much like even after his 5-second penalty, it was on, and it was like, felt like we were doing qualifying laps till the end. I was able to sort of keep that 0.8 to a second over him. So felt pretty good on the super soft tire, and felt like that was a better race. Where were you in that one?
I didn't make it past turn 1.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, there was a few.
Were you out altogether?
Yeah, I went 5 laps down because it literally punched through the oil cooler and all sorts. It was pretty big.
What happened there?
Cooper, I think, was swerving around a car, or I think Aaron Cameron or something like that. They were swerving around and they got wheels into lock again. These wheels are just bullshit for racing. And so Cooper went up on a 45-degree angle and got real fishtailing, and it just caused this big Constantina going into turn 1. So I went around the outside and I was fully out of it. Just, I didn't care if I went back to last. And then the field behind obviously couldn't really see what was going on, because obviously when you're 3 wide or 2 wide, it's pretty hard to see what's in front.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of a crash going on at turn 1, and then everyone just piled into it, and then JLB sort of a car swerved and he got drilled me, I think, in the right front corner, so just bent all the suspension arms and front rails, front crash structure was all stuffed, and radiator, all cooler.
You pretty much just go out there to get some points.
You spend 9 minutes, you try to do the 75. So you have to do 75% of the race to gain finishing points. Otherwise, it's a DNF. So the crew just fixed up the car as quick as possible so we could get the points. So because obviously I'm 6th in the championship at the moment, but it's not that far to 10th really. So it's only 150 or 200 points. So a couple of bad races and won't be looking too good. So just need to try to get as many points as we can.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. And you only just made it through it, didn't you, Zach?
Yeah, well, actually, funnily enough, I got a bad start. You got a good one. It probably bit you in the arse.
I got a bad one as well.
Well, mine was worse. I was on the inside. I just went hard right as soon as I saw all of it, which I was pretty lucky. But apparently there's a car that came back behind me as soon as I went past and nearly got my left rear.
Oh, right.
So I didn't know. I was just hanging on. But it was, obviously it was just unfortunate how the car in front jumped up, and then when it landed, it just went hard left and hooked in. It's the start. I mean, I don't know. I don't really remember it fully, but I just went hard right.
It's funny how those things happen when you're in the race and it happens afterwards, but you actually struggle to recall.
Oh, that's
because you get in this zone.
Yeah, why do you reckon it is?
You get into this zone. I can't remember what it's called. It's your subconscious. So you start driving from your subconscious.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wonder. I always, No, I always wonder how the guys, they obviously learn with it so much in America, in NASCAR, and that learning with their spotters and listening to their spotters. But I actually would really struggle with that because, you sort of are looking out the front and I think go left, and your spotter's saying go right. It would be so hard to learn that for a while and actually trust what your spotter's saying, because a fair few of the times you actually get it correct. You know what I mean? You see a crash happening, you go right, you go left, you usually get through. Our crash aren't usually as big as theirs. But I think having someone actually telling you where to go would be hard. I didn't see actually the wheels spinning with Brock. Apparently it was minute. Did anyone see the footage of that?
I did, yeah. I've seen it. He was crawling at maybe 1.5 Ks, 2 Ks an hour, but he was rolling before the start. So generally you can roll, but you have to stop before the lights go out. But obviously he must have not had enough line lock pressure.
Yeah, so it was just consistent roll.
Consistent roll all the way to the lights out. And obviously he got done for it. So 5 seconds, which is a fair penalty. I mean, you do gain a little bit by rolling, obviously from the start. But I think 5 seconds is pretty fair.
Yeah, because generally, as we all know, when you see someone jump the start around you or something like that, you usually notice it. You know what I mean? It nearly puts you off because they jump and then you're like, oh shit, they've jumped, I go. But I didn't notice Brock rolling. So they told Andrew told me after the safety car restart that, Brock's got a 5-second penalty. And I was like, he didn't do anything wrong on the safety car restart.
Why are you saying that?
Pardon?
Oh, because you're saying about for the safety car restart. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I was confused as to why. Like, I was like, I can't work out. He didn't weave under safety car. He didn't go before the green flag. I was trying to work out what his penalty was for because I hadn't seen the jump start. So I was like, I'll take it. Like, 5 seconds is good.
I was going to say, why are you backing him up?
No, but I was like, I wasn't saying this on the radio. I was thinking it in my head. I'm like, what has he got a penalty for? And surely they're going to fight it then if it's safety car breach. So I was trying to still race as hard as I can and get in front of him.
Penalty.
Yeah, BOP penalty. Yeah, he just gets 5 seconds from now on. But yeah, so that was obviously an interesting one. To be honest, well, he would have won all 3 races and got all 3 poles for the weekend then, if that was the case, which makes us all feel really good, doesn't it? But
yeah.
What did feel good was seeing your dad on the podium though for the 150. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool. Shane came up, home round, a lot of crew down from Toowoomba. Dad came up on the podium and I think he enjoyed it. I think it was cool. He generally doesn't like being in the limelight that much.
He did like it. He even came back for a shoey because the crowd was like chanting him on, but you threw it away.
I didn't know the crowd were chanting him on. I wasn't listening. And then he came back and said, I was just mid about to throw, and he's like, yeah, I'll have a shoey. And he generally, like, when we were young, like 18, he'd be up us if we go out and, get pissed and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, he's not going to do a shoey. And then he came back and he's like, oh, I would have done a shoey. And I'm like, righto, that's not normal, but okay. But that would have been cool. That would have been cool.
Leanne was driving back to Toowoomba, so he could have done a couple if he hadn't thrown it away.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, you would have been right.
We did get one of our questions we put up yesterday, which we'll get to, but someone who caught it said they almost got a concussion the way it came down.
Really?
Yeah, she said it almost smacked her in the head.
And the heel of them is actually
that's what they said.
It's quite heavy, the heel of it. So oh well, it's a bit of a hazard. They should be better at catching then. But
did Shano chuck his hand on your shoulder and say, "You're back, son"? After that one?
No, I think we knew Brock was still fast there, so I don't know if I'm back yet. But that was cool. That was a good moment and good to have them up there. Another thing I want to go over is full course yellows. I think I'm sick of them.
Oh yeah, and that last race I don't understand why. I mean, obviously Cam Crick ran off and
why are they?
But yeah, the safety car was parked at the exit of turn 2 for 3 or 2 laps, I believe. Did you see it parked there on the right? So they could have condensed the field up at that point, but it was like they wanted the entertainment factor and left it full course yellow for 3 or 4 laps. So then those guys that knew that they could get the double pit stop could be back in the race and create some excitement.
What are those guys even doing it was 35 laps in. Those guys are literally not even in the race. They're just driving to find a pit stop.
But I don't know, why are we doing these virtual safety cars for a car that's in the gravel and just let him sit there for a minute and don't ruin everyone's race for the strategy?
Yeah.
Because right now we have a new tyre that doesn't deg. So we do the same lap time, and then you put in another factor of that if you pit early and a virtual safety car comes out, it ruins your whole race.
Yep.
So it basically takes any undercutting out of the race. So you pretty much just see guys stay out for as long as possible and
the
then
strategy's
you pit.
gone.
So there's no strategy anymore at the races. So we're going into enduro season where we've seen some of the best finishes of all time have come down to some strategies of people taking different fuels and pitting earlier or later, vice versa. But we've done all this stuff to change the fuel capacities, and it doesn't matter. Everyone's going to do the same thing. Everyone's going to pit on the same lap. We saw it last year. It's going to be the exact same thing again.
Yeah. Yeah, I was that pissed off after I worked out what happened because I'm like, literally, you've got Groves now just running one car. Whichever car's theirs doesn't qualify well. They just drive it until they run out of fuel and hope that they get a safety car. So everyone else pits, tries.
Do you reckon they're paying some of the guys that beat you?
Must be. I don't know. But that's how, Payne has won a few races off it this year. And I think he's got quite lucky in a few of those situations. But yeah, I don't know. That race, it's annoying that people around the 18th to 25th that probably, like Waters, are a little bit out of position where he generally is. They just go, oh, well, the only way we can get back to winning this race is we won't even run the ideal or optimal strategy to try and pass people. We'll just drive around, and if we don't get a safety car, we finish last. If we get a safety car, he finishes, second or something on the weekend? Yeah,
definitely. And it's sort of, I guess it made the end of the race a little bit entertaining, but out of that one race, it probably ruins 80% of the other races with the VSC, because where the races you don't get the virtual safety car, everyone's running the same strategy, so there's no difference. So it makes those races not as entertaining as, say, that one race.
100%.
So that's what people don't understand is, I guess, some people may be watching at home going, oh, yeah, that was a great finish. But, yeah, it ruined the 5 races before.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Because, yeah, I think the problem we've got with it is that supercars are obviously going, oh, so many people have said it was a great finish because somebody, Waters and that made it interesting and Brock wasn't leading. But like you say, yeah, it made that one race good. But the rest of them, it's just like, a lot of the time I ask Andrew, can we try and undercut this guy? But he doesn't want to try and undercut because he's like, oh, well, if we undercut by 4 or 5 laps and the safety car comes out, then we're actually going to drop from 3rd to 15th because exactly. No one else is running. So where in the old days, before you had this and everyone raced around and came into the pits, it wouldn't matter if we undercut. We don't lose any time. We would have done it and we would have probably been a bit better off for it. But now you just literally go, oh, well, we're not running that strategy. We just have to run till everyone pits. And that's why you see Brock every time when he's in the lead. He just stays out for as long as he can until second place does, so that if a safety car comes, he's just trying to protect himself from whoever's still 19th running around waiting for one.
So the only reason why he would have pitted in the last race, because he had a big enough lead anyway, was so that full course yellow, I believe, was for 5 laps. Generally, they only last like 1 to 2 laps, and then they put the safety car out in front. They bunch the field up, so they would have done their pit stop. So they could have done their next CPS under the full course yellow, not knowing that there was going to be 5 laps, and they could do the double CPS under the yellow, and then that would have been their strategy, like how you said. But the other thing too is they brought in the VSC for a safety, and we're driving around the whole field is spread out across the whole circuit for 5 laps or 4 laps, whatever it was, 80 k's an hour. If it was the old method, we would be in the pits within a minute because the lap time is 1:10. So within a minute and a half, the whole field would be in the pit lane. And then within a minute and a half to 2 minutes, the field would be condensed.
Yeah.
But instead, we drove around for 5 laps at 80 k's an hour, which is like 10 minutes or something, which is just boring. Yeah. And there's trucks that can't get on the track properly because the field's so spread out. Like there was a crane truck trying to come onto the track. Did you see that?
Yeah, did the shortcut.
Yeah, it was trying to come on the track at turn 3, and the whole field spread out across the whole circuit, 80 k's an hour. So how can it come on the track?
But also they say, oh, we don't want to delimit the limiters, like where we can catch a safety car until we know our personnel is safe and all that. But it was the same personnel there 5 laps later, more trucks when they ended up allowing us to delimit the limiters. So we've gone around under full course yellow with our 80 kilometres an hour for 5 laps, and then supercars, when we've said to them, well, why don't you want to allow this? Oh, we've got our staff on the track and this and that. They had more on there when they actually let us delimit the limiters and catch a safety car. So why didn't they just do it in the first lap and it wouldn't have ruined the whole race and everything like that? So that argument that probably we'll get at the next round that, oh, no, it wasn't safe yet, it doesn't make sense to me. But I think we need to work out some way to get that a better rule.
The VSC should only come out for an instance like where the oil bottle or debris, something that can be quickly cleaned up or removed within a lap, and that's it. But not with every single incident where the car fires it off into the sand. But my next question for you is, do you think they held the VSC out for entertainment purposes so those 6 cars could do a double CPS?
This is the thing. I don't know. I think it's possible. I know where you're going with it, but it seems that we're asking each round, our team, we go up and say, hey, do you think you're going to run 2 laps this time? And it's always saying, oh, we don't know, and that sort of stuff. But it seems inconsistent, doesn't it? It seems like there'll be an accident one time, and it's just like, yeah, delimit it, like within 45 seconds, hey. And then it seems like sometimes, like at Ipswich, why did it, and Darwin once, why did they run on for so long and allow all these people to get through their pit cycles and do everything? I'm not sure. Obviously, it did make it entertaining, but I just think it ruins it.
Well, our structure is a lot different. So I guess some people at home that watch NASCAR. NASCAR is one big operation. So they do all their own ruling, they do their own officiating, all their driver code of conduct policies is all within NASCAR. But we're separate. We have supercars, and then we have a separate entity that's meant to be its own body, Motorsport Australia, FIA. But that's supposed to be a separate entity from supercars. But if that is the case, like the racing this year has obviously been opened up to be more entertainment, vice versa, which is I think it's great. But then we have the 5 laps under the VSC. you know, if it is done for entertainment, why do we need MA?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think there's an answer yet for it, but I think that, yeah, we need to, Supercars need to look into it and make something better. I'm not exactly sure what it is right now to make it better for enduros and that you can throw some sort of strategy out there. The other thing that's probably very, very similar, it was under safety car. What race was it that we finished under safety car? Was that?
Oh, that was
Wasn't
race
it
one,
the
wasn't
first
it?
one?
Yeah, race one.
Race one.
race
So,
one.
so
23.
race one, we watched. They got the car off the track fast. So I guess for people listening at home, like turn 3 is meant to be when the lights go out on the safety car because the safety car seems slow to getting to the pit lane. They want it to allow it to get to pit lane so we can start. So
It's not electric, is it?
Pardon?
It's not electric, is it?
It is electric, but they're meant to be fast, aren't they?
They're heavy. So
Light.
they're not going to be fast.
I
They're
don't
heavy as hell.
But did you see the car got off going down into turn 3? We got 2 laps to go. The car gets off the track, the car that had crashed, and the tow truck gets off the track. It's just out of turn 3 where they generally let the lights off. Why didn't they just down at turn 4 let the lights off and let us do 1 lap at the end for like if you want to give entertainment? The track was clear. Everything was off the track. They could have let us go at turn 4 and allowed us to do 1 lap to make it interesting. Obviously, I wanted it to happen because I had 4 tyres and the guys in front of me didn't. But also,
I want it to happen too.
I'm sure everyone wanted it to happen. Everyone watching on the hill had come to watch. And then you just go, oh, no, sorry, we're going to finish under safety car. Like, it was completely, that race was able to be run a 1 lap dash till the end.
Well, I know if we literally said right now, comment below, would you like to see overtime? So would you like to see races finish under guaranteed checkered flag, under racing conditions? Yes or no? We already know what the answer is going to be.
Why can't they? Do you think they can't do it though because of fuel? Is that our biggest thing?
No, it's for TV time.
Oh, true.
It's always for TV time. But like, there was enough TV time left in that race. They spend 45 minutes after the race talking gibberish half the time.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sure everyone would like to see a proper race finish.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess you got to play it on TV, but you're going to see such a bad finish anyway, just if it has to be cut off TV and finish at the track, you know what I mean? Like, finishing under safety car, there's no real finish in the end anyway.
What about the wheel spin? Will, I think you wanted to talk a bit about that.
Oh, yeah, because I
Brodie's
get
got a bit of
roasted
technical
about
insight.
that, and you're pretty...
Oh, you guys cheat all the time about that. Anyway.
Yeah, he's not
Get
going to
out the
support me at all.
checkbook.
Let's not talk about this, actually.
No, let's bring it up, actually. The Triple Eight get away with everything. It's ridiculous.
That is bullshit. I feel like this is the comments online, like, oh, Red Bull get away with everything. It's like, I don't think we get away with that much. Like, what do we get away with, generally? I don't think... Dutto's pretty good. I'll admit Dutto's pretty good.
Fish-eyed lens when you let off the button early at Taupo.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely got off that.
Yeah, I got off that.
Dutto just went in there and just...
bamboozled him.
Yeah, bamboozled everyone and started talking about fish-eyed lenses and stuff, and then, like, they let...
Well, it was a fair statement. There was question marks around it.
How do you think Berto does our stuff?
Off eye. Like, just off...
Well, they've got a fish-eye lens too, don't they?
Yeah.
So, like, that means they've just completely wrote everything off.
Yeah, I was lucky to get off that. But what
what you're saying is you do get off on a lot of things.
That's one, not a lot. Thank you. That's one. But I'm glad that you could come up with an example.
Where's your shovel? That hole's getting pretty deep, bro.
Yeah, that's right. No, well, my thing is that as a driver, I couldn't feel the wheels spinning in the pit. So people are like, oh, freaking, you need to get penalised, this and that. Like, I agree, you do. It's a safety thing. But the way I got explained it, and you can probably elaborate more on this, is that so we get set a pressure that you have to press in the pit stop. So when we come into the pit stop, we brake. As the car comes up and gets lifted in the air, we hold a certain amount of pressure, and then it sets our line locker off on the rear wheels so that the rear wheels can't spin if we click a gear or anything like that, and can't, I guess, hurt the mechanics. Can't, they've got their hands there and all that. Can't do that. So 20 bar, the way that Dutto explained it to me, was meant to be a number that Supercars came up with that our engines couldn't drive through. That if we load the clutch, it should stall the engine before it spins the wheels. So mine was at, like, say, I was a bit low, like I was over it because it tells us if we're under it, but I was at like 24 bar or something. So I loaded the clutch before I dropped, and then obviously it spun the wheels, which I didn't know. I didn't know that I was spinning the wheels, and I found out after. But I guess that 24 bar, obviously, we probably need to, as a team ourselves, create something that we push more than 24 bar, because obviously that's not enough. If you can load the clutch and it just starts spinning the wheels, that was set there that you can't spin the wheels.
And that's 290 PSI for everyone talking in English.
Oh, look at
Yeah,
you
I
go.
just had to search it up. Because
So what
like talking 20 bar, like what the?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what that's what I well apparently the rules in bar, but generally you would think that would probably
Well, everyone does, yeah. Like most people, like I load the clutch when I'm sitting there wait because you're trying to find every single advantage you can. But I think I had an instance a round or so ago where they pull the spike out as the car's still in the air. The wheel started spinning because as soon as you pull the spike out, the line locker releases. And obviously I got clutch load, and then they were trying to attempt and say that, oh, your wheels are spinning, next time we'll penalise you for it. But it's like, yeah, I don't...
How do you stop that though? Do we just not load the clutch? Like I've always loaded the clutch in the old car. We would always load the clutch.
Well, if you don't do it, you lose a second, and they don't have the camera on everyone in the pit stop. So you always do, like, you take everything to the extent of what you can do, you know? Like you always push, because everything's so small, gaps these days, you have to take every advantage you can get. It's like everyone coming into pit road these days looks like they're about to end up in a freaking car accident.
Yeah.
It's just like, I remember following, I remember you taking off behind me to pit, and you were completely out of control in the first race.
Oh, yeah, far out. I thought I was going to crash in there. You should have seen me rears locked into the lane.
The pit entry?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's a
the
scary
lady,
pit
I think
entry
she was
there as
smiling because I was backing it in, and I didn't mean to, but it's just straight when you try push those pit lanes and a little bit of a corner into pit lane. I was just like, but you are, like you say, you're trying to find every advantage you can. But yeah, I don't know. I can understand why I got the penalty. There's no, like, I thought we'd probably get done. Fair enough. But I can understand why we got done. But I think that obviously us as a team need to increase what the minimum pressure is, so that instead of our dash just saying, yeah, it's...
Yeah, you're okay. You're
because
above the rule.
Yeah, I guess when we do a pit stop, when we go up, it says red if we're not over that 20 bar. It says, press the brake. But I guess we need to make our red not 290 PSI you come up with. We need to make it 500 that I can't...
Well, that's what you do on a start.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah.
I do 500
Yeah,
at the
so
start,
you have to do 5 ways. You drive through the line locker, which is what Brock did in the race. That's why he got a penalty.
Yeah, so I guess just something for us to adjust. But yeah, we haven't really had that problem before, but now obviously...
What of running out of brown paper bags?
What's that for?
What, to pay people off?
Oh, right. I was like, what's this for? Yeah, that's true. I have to bring them down from the car yard, start giving people cash. So, yeah, that was disappointing. I think, to be honest, like, it was like, come on, you're gonna penalise us from... I'm already nearly last. I got turned around by Woodier. But, yeah, I think everyone's argument was they should have given a in-race penalty, but I think the reason they didn't give an in-race penalty is because I think... So, yeah, that's another argument. A lot of people at home were obviously saying penalised during the race, but I think Supercars couldn't understand how my wheels spun during the race because it said the line locker was on. So they have the data back to them that generally it would say line locker not on, but it said line locker activated, correct pressure. So that's why they didn't penalise me during the race. They're like, oh, well, this is a bit of a weird thing that he spun the wheels with the correct pressure and all of that.
But that's weird, though, because the rule just says if your wheels are spinning. So if the wheels are spinning, doesn't matter if your line lock is active or not. That's what the rule says. I got to explain this the round before because I was preloading my clutch and then everyone was coming at me with all different things and saying, oh, well, it doesn't matter. It's if your wheels are spinning, they're spinning. That's it. It's a penalty. So...
Yeah, well, maybe they just got to be more black and white, I guess.
Yeah,
I hope
or just
not,
be more consistent.
Yeah,
would be good.
Yeah, I actually, you were like, we checked yours for some reason. You're like 75 bar. I don't know what that is in PSI.
I was just like coming into the lane. Obviously, I've never done pit stops before in Super 2 and whatever. I was just like, I'm just going to press things hard as possible.
Yeah.
Because if anything happens, it's like I don't want it to be me.
Yeah, because I was like, we're looking through and we're like, oh, well, what's everyone else pressing? And you, I think you nearly put your foot pedal through the firewall at the end there. You probably bent it.
Pin legs, at least they work.
Yeah, so yeah, that was kind of my weekend. Anything else interesting happen? Was there anything good? Anything you saw, Ames?
Nah, not really.
No, it was. There was bits and pieces. It was definitely an entertaining weekend. A lot of people running into each other. Apparently, there was a fair few penalties given out, but
There was a lot on Sunday.
A lot. So,
I was looking at the timing board and it's just like all these yellow numbers popping up next to everyone's name. There was quite a few.
Yeah, the highlight for me for the weekend was actually showing up on the Friday and seeing all the people there. But I had a lot of people come up to me that had listened to the podcast, so thank you.
Yeah.
And mentioned the podcast. So that was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I
That's
reckon we
pretty
got to
cool part
start
of the
giving out we'll take a few hats or something and give
Oh my
out some
God,
gifts.
stop giving me so much work to do.
Yeah, we just we just give Ains all this work to do. We'll find something, so that's good. And I think we're
Well, we wanted Brodie's had an idea for a segment, which I think is pretty cool.
yeah.
To do
Yeah.
each episode.
My idea for a segment was have a young driver segment. So
Yep.
someone that's not currently in main game that's deserves a bit of credit. So I think it's pretty hard. Obviously, you and I have been in this situation before. It's pretty
Yep.
hard to get noticed. So, and I think you did a great job on the weekend. Obviously, putting it into the top 10 and qualifying and doing a shootout lap. That would have been pretty cool having the track to yourself. But I think we're going to do a segment of, every time we do a show, we'll shout out a young driver, maybe get a few young drivers on. So
Yep.
there's definitely been some standout drivers. Obviously, I always watch all the 86 races, which are always really
You
cool.
had one at Townsville because we
I
were going to
did.
do one at the last one. Who was your kid
Oliver
at Townsville?
Wickham. So he's a
You
15-year-old.
stole mine. I was about to say
Yeah,
that
Oliver
as well.
Wickham,
He's doing a great
15
job.
years old. He's a ripper young lad, so he hangs around Norwell a fair bit. And
He looks like a motocross rider. You sent me a photo. He's got like the hair, and he looks like
he's
he
cut
looks
it,
like
he's
he's,
got a bowl cut now.
Oh, has
But
he? Yeah, right.
He's a ripper young kid. He's pretty funny. So
Yeah, well, even at Queensland, he did another fantastic job. Like, obviously, round one of the first round of the 86 was at Townsville. Sometimes as the field's a bit up and down, it's the first round, whatever, but to back it up then again and get on the podium a couple times.
Was
Good
he
job.
on the podium at Ipswich as well?
Yeah, I believe so, in the second
Oh.
race
yeah,
or
he
third
was.
race.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
He's a constant front runner. So
Right.
yeah, it was actually really cool to see. So 15 years old. So I
Who's
remember-
Who's he running for?
He's running under Norwell, but it's really cool because Paul's got, I think, the three cars there. It's got Charlie Parker, Kate Davey, who races for Racing Together, who also he was really fast all weekend as well. And Charlie Parker actually won the round, so he was the most consistent over the round. But Paul's literally got them running their own cars, doing their own tyre pressures, everything. And yeah, he's just trying to teach them how to, broaden their mind a bit more about it and think about like how to bring your tyres in a bit more, because it's pretty hard to actually learn when you come into supercars, like you said before. Like, it's pretty hard to do what you did, come in and be a good qualifier, because that's the hardest thing, I believe. And especially now these days where you get like no tyres, nothing. We show up to each track with just nothing but crap, basically.
Yeah.
And so I think he's doing a good job of trying to bring those young guys up.
And
Yeah.
what we'll do each time is we'll clip this and we'll collab it with them, so everyone that listens can find their account and follow them and follow
That's a
their
great idea.
racing.
Yeah, that'll be good. So Zach, who we gave it to Zach this weekend, and
We'll go
the other
split
kid off.
this one.
Yeah,
this one.
split, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
Split?
share it.
did you bring the prize?
Yeah.
What are you
Where is
doing?
it?
Haynes, what are you doing?
It's a Silverado. I'm gonna hand over your car keys.
Giving away one of it. That's my car.
Yeah, it's dirty though.
Yeah, mine is dirty right now.
Yeah.
Well, to finish up, guys, let's do our quickfire Q&A.
Yep.
We've got 4. We'll try and do like a minute each because we're running out of time.
Yep.
First one, and I would say probably the most asked question is, who's going to win in a fight between Will and Woody?
Oh, jeez.
I'd pay to watch it.
I would too.
I'd fight dirty. I can tell you that much. Like,
The eye pokes. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know
These
if
guys
you would have
to
had
answer
any
this.
blues at your private school growing up. Much
What's that
of a
all
good
about?
fighter.
Yeah,
you've,
Far out.
everyone at home, Will's had a really pristine
Oh.
private education. Like big
I had a
silver
brother
spoon.
that used to drown me every weekend. I'm not kidding. You meet Tim, and I had a tough upbringing. Not
Well,
because
we
my
can
family,
definitely
just
tell
because
you
of
were
him.
deprived of oxygen, let me tell you.
Well, you guys got to answer it. Come on, I can't answer it myself.
I actually think you would win,
Oh, yes.
to be honest.
Maybe we can do like at the end of the year where they do those charity boxing matches. We could get a Lucky Dogs charity boxing match, get it going, and you can get everyone who took each other out throughout the year. You enter and it goes to charity.
That sounds like a great idea.
I'm just not versing you or anyone or Cam. there's a few
Yeah,
people.
Cam's done UFC.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
insane.
Yeah.
Batesy, who you got?
Oh, I've seen Woody in the gym. I was teammates with him for a while, and he can move.
Really?
He can move, so I'd get training.
Yeah, but you didn't say who though.
Woody.
Oh God. We're split
I'll back
decision
you,
here.
mate.
Split decision. We're gonna have to get it from the comments, maybe.
Or just do it.
Yeah.
People can the comments. Whoever gets the most amount in the comments, obviously we know who will win.
Yeah. Quick one for you, Brodie. Why the nickname Bush?
Oh, actually, I get asked this quite a bit, but it was actually back in 2019. I was at Norwell, and jumped out of a moving car that had a brake failure that Kurt was driving. So I was in the passenger seat. And I decided to, Kurt pressed the brake pedal and he said no brakes. So I just unbuckled my seatbelt and just opened the door and jumped straight out. So it was like at 110 k's an hour. It was pissing down with rain. And I remember just like sliding along the wet grass at Norwell, like all the way into the earth bank in the bushes. And I like ripped my t-shirt, my pants, and I was like covered in mud. I literally like, you could just see my white eyeballs. That was it basically. So Kurt drove the car into the tree. He avoided all the tire bundles there that could have saved him, basically, and drove it straight into a tree. And so Paul was behind in the car behind with, actually Brock was in the car, actually, funnily enough, with Nash and Jake, my other cousin. And so they pulled up to the crash site, and Kurt's like sitting in there and he's like struggling to breathe a bit because he broke his stone, but he was good, he was talking. And then Paul's like, where the fuck's Brodie? And then Kurt's like, he jumped out. He jumped out, and Brock and Nash and Jake are like, yeah, didn't you see him? He jumped out of the passenger door. And he's like, what? And then so I'm like walking over because I was like 50 meters over to the left. So I've come walking over and I've like got one shoe on because I've lost my shoe and I'm covered in mud. And I walked up to the car and Kurt's like still in the car. And then I just started laughing because I'm like, oh, he's all right. He's not, there's no blood, no nothing. And then he starts laughing and then he's like, don't laugh, I can't breathe.
See, I just want to know, like, how'd you do it? Like, it takes a bit of a, to actually go in the moment, nah, screw this, I'm not going in this crash, I'm just going to roll out. Like, did you tuck and roll? Did you flat slide out? Like, how did you do it? Did you slide on your belly? How did it work?
I don't know, because I've had one brake failure before in America when I was doing NASCAR K&N, which is ARCA now. And when I was testing, and I just remember that feeling was just the worst feeling ever, like not having control over your own destiny. And I remember like the lap before, I was thinking about, I'm like, oh, this is a stock, like old, it was 2 cars from the wreckers, like it was 2 old VY Commodores. And I'm like, God, like we've been banging around for a while now. I'm like, Kurt, do you reckon we should give it a cool down? He's like, no, the brakes still feel all right. And I was like, oh, I'll just check him like every so often and maybe let him cool down. And then he's like checking them, they'll fine. As we got the braking zone, he's literally pressed it and it's just gone no brakes. So I think I was like already manifesting what I was, I don't know what I was doing to be honest. I have no idea. Anyways, that sort of actually started my career.
That's a great Halloween costume, is Brodie coming out of the bush with one shoe. Will, what's the best car sale you've ever made?
The one with the prop shaft, the tail shaft fell out.
Surely you can't tell this one.
No, can I tell it?
This one is fucked. This one's bad. So obviously we own, I'm not going to even write the name on this one. We own a car yard.
Cars galore Toowoomba.
So Brodie sends me this video and I'm like, what the hell is this video? It's this guy and he says, oh, like you can explain it.
So I was just browsing Facebook. I was on the, as you do, you're on the toilet. I was just browsing Facebook, and for some reason this Toowoomba group page come up, and this guy had posted a video of he's just driven out of Cars Galore. He's just bought this used car, and then he's walked up behind the car and the tail shaft's on the ground behind the car, and he's like taking a selfie. He goes, don't buy a car from Cars Galore. This is what you get. Absolute piece of shit or something. So I've busted out laughing and I've sent it to Will. And he's like, what the fuck? What's this?
I hadn't even heard about it. Like, generally, I'm like, customer complaints pretty much is me. And I hadn't even heard about it. But yeah, he just put it up on the community page. How does a tail shaft even fall out?
You're the one that's selling it. You tell us.
I don't even know. Like, you'd think you'd feel it, like, driving down the road. Like, and it was like 30 meters behind the car in the video you sent me. It's just down in the gutter. And I'm like, what the hell? So, that definitely wasn't my best sale though, off that question. But I think
he might have been the one that asked.
He's asking on the deal.
I don't know what would be my best sale. Because I think your best sale would go off like profit or something, wouldn't it? Which I wouldn't want to say which car that is, but I don't know. I guess not the answer, but I enjoy the sales side of it. I think it's fun I don't know. I've always enjoyed it, trying to buy something for a price and then sell it for another price.
Can you get to the answer?
I don't have an answer. I don't know which one's my best. I think we bought a motorhome once, actually, when I was at... Actually, yeah, probably the best one. And this wasn't for profit or anything, but we bought a motorhome, which was really random, at an auction in Toowoomba. Like, it was just Dad saw it, and he's like, yeah, we'll buy that. So went to the auction, bought it, and we did quite well out of it. And the guy walked in with 140 grand in cash in a Woolworth bag. And I had to count it. and obviously I can't count very fast. Like I'm a race car driver. It took me forever. So that was probably, I remember that was a fair bit of cash. Okay, that's us done. So
Well, that's episode 2.
yeah, episode 2. We've got a name now, so I reckon that's pretty big. Lucky Dogs. So Ainsley's going to get all this merch sorted and all that, but no, I'm only joking, Ains. We might be a little bit off on merch, but we're hoping to bring one every 2 weeks. I think is the plan, something like that.
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah.
Yep.
Don't
Yep.
worry, we can help with merch. We've got some good friends.
Yep. I think
Ryan
we'll
McNamara,
miss.
I'm looking at you, mate. You can help us out.
Yeah, I think I'll miss well, you might do because I'm going to the States for a week and a half. So
You
we'll
are.
work something out there. Yep.
Yep.
All wrapped up. Thanks everyone for listening again.
Beautiful.
Cheers,
Thank you.
Batesy.